Hello friends, I'm Parviz, and in this video we want to learn that how we can deploy a Flask web application to Google Cloud Compute Engine. But before that, if you're interested on a complete course mastering Google Cloud Platform for Python developers, then you can join my 18 hours training course on Google Cloud for Python developers. There are different sections, and this course will be updated regularly, and right now there are about 20 sections, but new sections will be added. So we have different topics, for example, how you can use GCP with Python, how you can use Compute Engine, for example, with Python, how you can deploy Django to Google Compute Engine, deploy Flask, Cloud SQL, how you can use Cloud SQL with Python, Google Cloud Run functions with Python, how you can deploy Flask API in Cloud Run, Google Cloud Storage, how you can use Google Cloud Storage with Python, how you can use Google App Engine with Python, how you can create a blog application with Django and deploy it in the App Engine and Cloud SQL. So this is a complete course, and I have added the link in the video description. If you're interested, you can also join this course. And in this section, what we want to learn that how we can deploy our Flask application to the Compute Engine. Particularly in this lesson, we want to learn that what's Flask, and also we will install that. Now, first of all, what's Flask? Now, Flask is a lightweight and flexible web framework for building web applications in Python. It is classified as a micro framework because it provides only the essential components needed to build a web app, but it allows developers to add additional functionality as needed. So now let's talk about some key features of Flask. So the first one is minimal code. Now, Flask does not enforce dependencies or project layout. It allows you to structure your application however you prefer. Now, routing. So it provides easy routing system to map URLs to functions. So when users visit certain URLs, specific Python functions are executed. Template engine. Flask uses Jinja 2 as its templating engine, which allows you to create dynamic HTML pages by embedding Python-like expressions in HTML. Development server. Flask comes with a built-in development server, and this makes it easy to test your applications locally. Extendable. Now, while Flask itself is minimal and it's small, but it can be extended with libraries and extensions to add functionality such as authentication, database integration, and also form handling. And now, for example, we have different extensions that we can use for that. And the last one is RESTful support. Now, Flask can easily be used to create RESTful APIs by defining routes that handle different HTTP methods like GET, POST, PUT, and also DELETE. Now, why use Flask? So first one is lightweight. Now, Flask is great for small, medium-sized applications. For small to medium-sized applications, and this is good for projects that don't need the overhead of larger frameworks like Django. And also flexible. Now, Flask gives you the flexibility to decide how you want to structure your app, what tools to use, and also how to handle things like databases and also authentications using extensions. And also great for API. Flask is commonly used to build REST APIs or microservices due to its simplicity and also flexibility. Now, let's install Flask. So I already have created a new project, so you can just, in PyCharm ID, so you can just click on new and you can just go to the new project. From here, you need to give the name of the project, the location you need to choose, and also the virtual environment. So I'm using virtual env, and also the Python version. So I'm using Python 3.12. So you can just use any version. I'm using Python 3.12. Let's just click, you can just click on create and the project will be created. So I already have created the project. Now we need to install, so pip install Flask, okay? And let's wait and the Flask will be installed. Okay, so now you can see that the Flask has been installed, and in the next lesson we will create our app. In the previous lesson, we have learned that how we can install Flask. Now in this lesson, we want to create our first app using Flask. So now we have our Flask GC project that we have created, and we already have installed Flask. Now I'm going to create a directory at the name of my app. So now inside my app, I want to create a Python file. Let me just call it app.py. Okay. So now in the app.py, first we need to import Flask. So from Flask, import Flask, and also render template. Okay. So render template. Now we need to create our Flask, and I can just say underscore name. So after that, what we need to do, we need to create our route. So app.route, and I want the route should be as an index route. Okay, so I can just say index, and in here we are going to return render template. We need to give the template name, so index.html. So right now we haven't created this template, but we will create that. Now what we need to do, inside my app, we need to create another directory at the name of templates. Okay, templates folder, and we need to create this index.html. So let me just create that. Okay, so now we can change this Flask and GCE. So I can just say deploy Flask to Google Compute Engine. So in this lesson, we want to deploy our Flask app to Compute Engine. Okay, so now we have created our index.html. So now let's run our app. So I can just say underscore name. We can use app.run, and for right now we want to just make the debug to true, but when you're going to deploy that, you can just make it false, or you can just remove it. Okay, so now we have our app. Let's just run it. Okay, so now it's running on this development server, and let's open that. Okay, and now you can see deploy Flask to Google Compute Engine, and our development server is working. In this lesson, we want to talk about Flask SQL alchemy. So first of all, let's talk about SQL alchemy. Now, what is SQL alchemy? SQL alchemy is a Python SQL toolkit and object relational mapper, or ORM, that provides a way to interact with databases in Flask and other Python applications. It allows developers to define database models using Python classes instead of writing raw SQL queries. Now, why use SQL alchemy? The first reason is ORM, or object relational mapping. It allows you to work with databases using Python objects rather than SQL queries. Different databases. It supports multiple databases including SQLite, MySQL, Postgres, and also many more. Efficient querying. Now provides an easy way to perform complex queries. And the last one is security. It helps prevent SQL injection attacks by using parameterized queries. Now, what is Flask SQL alchemy? Flask SQL alchemy is an extension for Flask that simplifies working with databases using SQL alchemy, which is a powerful object relational mapper, or ORM, for Python. Now, why use Flask SQL alchemy? The first reason is easy integration with Flask. Now it makes database connections and ORM usage much simpler in Flask applications. The second one is object relational mapping, or ORM. It allows you to interact with databases using Python objects instead of raw SQL queries, support multiple databases, works with MySQL, Postgres, SQLite, and also SQL Server. And also the query is simple. Now it provides an easy way to perform CRUD operations on the databases easily. So now let's install Flask SQL alchemy. So now this is our Flask app. First we need to install Flask. So we can say pip install Flask SQL alchemy. Okay, hit enter. And I already have installed it, so the Flask SQL alchemy is installed. After that, we need to add some configuration. So first we need to configure the SQL alchemy database URI. And in our case, we're using SQLite database and at name of books.db. And also we're going to make the track modifications to false. In the previous lesson, we have created our SQL Alchemy configuration. Now in this lesson, we want to create our database model. Okay, so now at the top in here, what we want to do, we want to define our, for example, we want to create a book model. Okay, so I can just say class book, and we are going to, so first we need to initialize the SQL Alchemy in here, and I can just say db, and we need to first import the SQL Alchemy. Okay, so I can just say from Flask SQL Alchemy, we are going to import our SQL Alchemy, and after doing that, we need to initialize the SQL Alchemy in here, and we can pass app. So after that, now we can say db.model. Our class book is extending from the db.model. Now which fields we want to create? So first field is id, and I can just say db.column. It's integer, so db.integer, and the primary key, so the primary key is true. It means that we have primary key. So after that, we should have the title and db.column. The type is db.string, so string. We want to use 100 character, and we can make the nullable to false. It means that it shouldn't be null. We can just copy this, and let me just copy and paste. We need the author, for example. It should be string, and we can make the nullable to false. Also, we need a price field, db.column. The type should be db.float. Okay, and after that, let's create our init. So underscore init. We need to pass the title, author, and also price. The ID is auto increment, and we don't need that. So self.title to the title, self.author to author, and self.price, so price to price. So it is not price, but it should be price. Okay, so now what we need to do, we need to create the database and also tables. So we can just say that with app underscore context. Okay, in here, and I can just say db.createAll. So db.createAll. Okay, so now let's run our app, and right now if you see, we don't have anything in here. Let's just run it. Okay, so there is an instance folder, but the db is not created. The table is not created because we have an error in here. So we have db.column, and we have db.float. This should be uppercase. Okay, and now let's just run it again. Okay, so now we have the app, and there should be an instance. So let me open this. First we need to open it, and now we should see an instance. Okay, so an instance folder with the books.db. So this was that we have created. Now if I open this in SQL Studio, so let's just open this database, and we need to just go to the PyCharm project, and we what's the name of the project that we have? That's Flask GCE. Okay, so now we can just open Flask GCE. In the my app, we have instance, we have books.db. Let's open that. So you can see we have table books. If I open table, you can see we have ID, title, author, price, and right now we don't have any data in there. Now let's add some data using Flask shell. Okay, now first of all, we need to change directory to my app, and after that, so we can just say Flask shell. Okay, so okay, now in here, what we need to do, first from app, we need to import db. So we can say import db, and also book. Oh wait, okay, it is uppercase book, so our model. Okay, And after importing of this, so let's create a new book. Okay, so we can say new book, book, and we need to pass in the constructor, we need to pass the title. So for example, I can just say Python. Okay, and also we need to give the author. For example, we can give an author in here, and also we need to give the price. Okay, so the price, for example, we can make it like this. Okay, now hit enter. After that, we need to just say db.session.add, and we want to add new book. Okay, and at the end we need to commit. So db.session.commit, we need to commit the database. And now if I just go to the SQLite Studio, so if I just refresh this, you can see that now we have one data that's added. Okay, so this is our first data. And also you can retrieve all the data using the shell, Flask shell, and you can use book.query.all. Okay, and now so we can just iterate through the book. So for book and books, and we can print book.title, so book.title, book.author, and also book.price, so book.price. Hit enter, and now you can see that we have our data. In this lesson, we want to learn that how we can retrieve all data in our front end. So now this is our Flask app, and here what we want to do, so in the index.html, okay, so first in the app.py, we have our index. It's just returning a simple our HTML file. Now in here, first what we need to do, we need to just get all the book. Okay, so we can use book.query.all. Okay, so now we have our all books. We can make it books. Okay, now we need to pass books in our HTML because we will need that. I can say books and books. Okay, so after that, let's just open our index.html. Okay, now inside the index.html, what I want to do, I'm going to just copy and paste the HTML file in here, and I will describe that. It's simple. Okay, so at the top we have created a div class container, and we have given empty or margin top. From top we have given for margin top. Now right now we haven't added bootstrap. You will not see any styles. These are bootstrap styles. We will add that. And we have a table class. This is our table class. This is the style of that. It should be stripped. And also we have table hover, and we have border one. Okay, after that we have the table head, and also we have the tr. Okay, or we can say we have table row, and we have th, we have id, title, author, price, and also we have a call span 2 for the actions. For example, we will have 2 actions for deleting and also updating. Okay, this is our th. After that, in the t body, we want to just iterate through the books. Okay, so we have already have used our this books query, and using this we can access to that books in Flask. Okay, now we can say for book and books, and we want the book ID, the book title inside the td, the book author, the book price. Okay, and this is the action, our action. So we have call span 2 actions, and in here we want 2 buttons. So the first one is update, and we are passing book.id. It means that according to specific ID we want to update the book, and this is the class, the btn. And also we want it should be a modal, so because when we click on update, we want that a model should be pop up. Right now we haven't created the model, and there should be model edit according to the book.id. Okay, so we will create our model when we have reached the updating section, and right now you need to just give the update. And also we have the delete. We want to delete according to the id. We want to pass the book.id. So this is the class, the bootstrap class, that's danger. And on click, what we want to do, we want to just return confirm, and we can say are you sure to delete, and if we want, we can delete that. Okay, and and we are going to end the for loop. Okay, so we have our table and we have our div. So it's just simple, and let me save it, and let's just refresh. Okay, so now you can see that we have our just one data. Right now we don't have any design. You can see that at the bottom we have update one and we have delete one. So if I click on delete, are you sure to delete? Right now there's no functionality for this and also for update also, because we don't have the model. But right now you can see that we have our data in the front end. In this lesson we want to talk about template inheritance. So template inheritance in Flask allows you to create a base template like base.html with common elements like headers, footers, and navigation bars, and extend it in other templates. Now this helps avoid code duplication and makes your HTML files easier to manage. Okay, so now in here what we want to do, we want to create inside the templates, we want to create a base.html. So I can just say base.html. And in the base.html, so what we want to do, first we need to create some blocks. Now the first block that we want to create, that's block title. Okay, so it should be for our title, and we are going to end the block. Okay, so between this we will have the content. Okay, and in the body we will have the block content. Okay, these blocks will be changed with the actual content. So we can just say block content, and we are going to end the block. So end block. Okay, so now in our index.html we need to bring some changes. Okay, so first what we need to do is to remove all these HTML files, the header files, and like this. Okay, and in here we need to extend from the base.html. So extends. So we can just say base.html. So we are extending from the base.html, and we are going to remove this body. So now in here we need to create the block content. Okay, so we can say block content, and we need to just end the block in here, end block. And now so now, okay, so we have block content. Also we need to remove this, we have a block title also. So block title Flask crot with GCE, and we want to end the block. Okay, so now we are done. So we have the base.html, and now we have extended the base.html, and now we have our code cleaner. So now if I save this and if I check this, okay, you can see that we have the same result, but this time the code is our HTML files are more cleaner. In this lesson we want to add our navbar and also styles. So right now, if you see, we have our Flask application, but we don't have any design, even though we already have the bootstrap designs in here. But because we haven't added that, it's not reflecting. So first, you need to just go to the Git bootstrap, and first I'm going to just include the via CDN, and we need to include the bootstrap 5.3. Let's copy that. We can open the base.html and let's paste that in here. Also we need the because we will use bootstrap models, we also need this GS package, and let's just copy that, and we can just add that in here like this. Okay, so now if I just refresh this, okay, so now we can see that we have a nice design for this. Okay, now the design is working as expected. Now first let's just open our index.html and bring this h1 tag inside the container. Let me bring it in here. And now what we need to do, we need to create a navbar.html. So we can just say navbar.html, and in here we need to create our navbar. Now let me just copy and paste the navbar. So this is our navbar code. We are using the bootstrap navbar, the container. We have this, and we have just one button. It's also a model that's for adding the book. And right now we haven't created the model, but we will create that. So this is btn, and the database toggle is model, and the database target is insert model. So right now we haven't created this insert model, and we will create that. So now what we need to do, we need to include this navbar.html and the base.html. Okay, and in here we can just include that. So I can just say include, and I want to include the navbar.html. Now let's save it and let's refresh it. Okay, so now you can see that we have add book. Right now it's not working, but we have a navbar in here. In this lesson we want to work on inserting new book model. So this is our navbar.html, and we have a button that's for inserting the new book, or we have an insert model. But right now, if I just click on add book, it's not working. So we want that, for example, when we click on the add book, we want a model, a bootstrap model with required fields. Okay. So now inside the navbar.html at the bottom, we are going to create our model. So now I have copied the model. So it's model for inserting the book. And we have the insert model and the classes model feed. Now this is the insert model that we already have given in here. Okay, so insert model. If you change this, then you need to also change this ID. Okay, so because the ID is reflecting that the database target. So the classes model feed, the role is dialog, and we have model dialog, the model content. So in the header of the model we have add book. And in here right now the form action is empty with the method is post, and these are the fields. We have title, and also we have the author. So we have author, we have the price field. Okay, and also we have a button that's add book. Okay, this is the add book button, and also we have the footer for the model, and in the footer we have a button that's for closing the model. So now let's just save it, and let's check it that it's working or not. And if I refresh it, and if I just click on add book, so you can see that we have a model. Now we can add the title, the author, the price, and then we can click on add book, it will be added. So right now we can just click on close. We want to just close the model. In the previous lesson we have created inserting model. Now in this lesson we want to work on functionality, and we want to create our inserting new book code. So now we need to open our app.py file, and now we need to create another route. So I can just say at app.route, and this should be, for example, our add route. Now the method, so I can just say methods, and this should be post. Okay, because we are posting the data. Now I can just say def insert book. Now first we need to check that if request, okay, we also need to import request. Okay, we need to import request, and also we can import flash and URL4, and also redirect. Okay, so now we can check that if request.method is post. Okay, so we don't need this in here. Okay, so if request.method is post, what we want to do, we want to create a new book. Okay, with the fields of title, and that's request. We want to get that from the form, request.form.get the title. Now if you remember in our navbar.html, that when we have created the inserting model, so we have the title, we have the author, and also we have the price. So we are going to use that. So we have the title, and we have the author, request.form.get, and that is author, so author, and also okay, and we have the price, request.form.get price. Now what we want to do, we want to just add that, and we can just use db.session.add. We want to add the book. Also we need to commit db.session.commit. We need to commit that. After that it will reflect the database. Also we want to add a flash message that book added. Okay, and we want to, after adding the book, we want to just redirect for example the user in our index page. Okay, so in the index that we have in here. Okay, so now we will talk about the flash messages in the next lesson, but right now we have flash. You can add that. We will talk about this. Now we have our insert book. After that, what we need to do, we need to just open our Navbar where we have our inserting modal, and in the form action we need to just add that. Okay, so I can just say URL4, and in the URL4 we want to use insert book. Okay, insert book. Now also what you need to do, we need to add the secret key in our app.py file, because Flask uses session to store user data like authentication, flash messages, and form submission. And SQL Alchemy sometimes interacts with session requiring a secret key. Now the secret key is used for encryption and preventing session tampering. Now in here we can just say app.config. We need to just say secret key, secret_key, and we can just add something like this. You can add your secret key in here. I want to add it like this. Okay, now let's just test that it is working or not. Let me just save it and let me just check. So we have a template syntax error, and the top level extends base.html. Where's the error? Okay, so yeah, this is the error. And in the navbar we have forgot to add this. So now let's just check it. Okay, so let's just click on add book. Title, we can just give it for example Google Cloud Platform with Google Cloud Platform. We can add an author, so for example John. We can add a price, and let's just click on add book. Okay, why this field is required? Because the no secret key was set. Set the secret key on the application to sometimes, but I have the secret key. Why I'm receiving this error? So let's check. Okay, now the data is added 2 times, but why we are receiving that error? Okay, this is misspelling secret key. So now let's refresh it and let's add book, and let me just say new book, author. We can add an author. Okay, so now you can see this is added. Okay, in this lesson we want to talk about Flask flash messages. Now flash messages in Flask are temporary messages used to display notification to users, and for example such as success message like book added successfully, error message like invalid login credentials, and warning like session expired. Now flash messages are stored in the session temporarily and removed being displayed once. Okay, so after it's being displayed, the flash messages will be removed. Now we already have created the code of flash messages. Now let's create the HTML code. So right now if you see, when we are adding the book we have flash message. Now in the index.html, so after h1 tag for example, we can display that message. Now in here what I want to do, I want to just say with messages, and we can say get flashed messages, and we need to end the with, so and width. And now in here we can check that if messages, so if messages, also we need to end the if and if. Okay, so if messages, now we can just iterate through the message. So for message and messages, also we need to just end the for loop and for. So let's just create a div class in here. So I can say div class. So you can say alert. So this is a bootstrap class, and we can give a rule for this. So the rule is alert, and in between of that we want to just display the message. Okay, now let's just save it and let's just check that the flash. Okay, so you can see that it's displayed. And if I just add another book, so flash messages author, we can give ABC, we can give a price, add book. Okay, so book added, and you can see that we have a flash message. In this lesson we want to create our update model. Okay, so right now if you see, if I just click on update, nothing, so nothing changes, because we need to create the functionality for the update. What we want to do, so inside index.html, if I come down, so after this tr, we are going to add our update model. So I can just paste the update model. Okay, so this is the update model. So now we have our model edit, and now this is the ID that we have given in here. So the model edit. Okay, so in the base target, and the class is model feed and the rule is dialog. So we have model dialog. So this is our content. This is the header. So update book. And right now form action method is post. Right now we don't have anything in the action. So these are the fields. We have title. Okay, and we have added a hidden field in here that is for the ID, because we will create the ID automatically. So we have added book.id, and we have our title, and in the value we have used book.title because we want to populate the title in the title field that we have. Okay, now we have the same for the author, book.author, and the same for the price, book.price. Okay, and at the end we have a button. Okay, and also at the end of model footer we have our footer that is for closing. Okay, so now if I just save it, and right now if I just refresh it and if I click on update, so you can see that I have the model with the populated data, the title, the author, and also the price. So if I do with this, you can see that the title, the author, and also the price. Okay, you can see that the model is working as expected, and in the next lesson we will work on updating functionality. In the previous lesson, we have learned that how we can create our update model. Now in this lesson, we want to learn that how we can create our updating functionality and how we can update the books. Okay, so now in the app.py file, so we have insert book. Now let's just create our updating route. Okay, so I can just say at app.route. So now this route should be for the update. So update, and the methods, for the methods we can use post. Okay, so now I can just say div update. Now we can check if request dot method is post. What we want to do, we want to just get all the data. So I can just say book.qt.get, and we can get that from the according to the ID, so form.get, and we are going to get that from get the ID from the form. So if you remember in here, we have an hidden field, so the name is ID, so we want to just get that according to that. Okay, so now we can just say my data.title request.form title and my data.author request.form author, and also we have the price, so my data.price and request.form, we can give the price. Okay, so now after that we need to just say db.session.commit. We need to just commit the database, and also we want to just create a flash message that book is updated, so book is updated. And also after updating we want to just redirect to the index page. Okay, so now after creating this we need to just go to the index.html, and in our model and the form action, okay, in here we can just say URL, so the URL 4, and in the URL 4 we need to add the update. Okay, update. Now let's just save it and let's refresh this, and if I click on update, so let's just say updated. For example, we can update this also. You can also update the price. Okay, let's click on update. I think so. Updated. Let's update. Okay, so now you can see that's updated. Okay, so this was our updating functionality. In the previous lesson we have worked on updating functionality. Now in this lesson we want to work on deleting functionality, and we want to delete books. So if you remember, we have a delete button, so if I just click, it's telling that are you sure to delete. Right now if I click on OK, the data will not be deleted. So what we need to do, we need to just open our app.py file, and in here we need to create our delete. Okay, so I can just say at app.route, and we have our delete route. So I want to delete according to the ID, according to the specific ID, and the methods. For the methods, that's get, and also we can just say get and also post. Okay, so now I can just say def delete, and I can just pass ID in here. So now first what we need to do, we need to just get all the books. We need to get the books according to the ID. So I can just say book.query.get, and I want to get that according to the ID. Okay, and after that we can just say db.session.delete, so .delete, and I want to delete my data. And also I can just say db.session.commit. After deleting we need to commit, and we can just give a flash message that book is deleted, and also we can say return redirect. After deleting we want to just redirect to the index page. Okay, so now after this we need to open our index.html, and then the index. Okay, so where we have our delete, so we want to delete according to the book ID, and we need to change. Okay, so we have our href, the class is this. Okay, so because we already have our delete, okay, now also for our update we already have our update. Now this is our update, and we already have added the delete in here, so this is the delete. We have added the delete view function in here, and we want to delete according to the ID of the book. So now if I just refresh this, okay, now for example I want to delete this one. If I click on delete, okay, now we have 4, and if I want to delete this, we can just click on delete, and we have 3, and that is deleted. Okay, now our simple Flask project is completed. Now what we want to do, we want to push our project to GitHub, and after that we will deploy the project to Compute Engine. So now before that we need to bring some changes. First let's just remove this debug to true, and we can just add a host 0000, and also we need to just add the port, for example 5000, and let's just make it like this. Okay, so this is the first change. Also we need to install Gunicorn, and okay, let me close this, and I can just say pip install Gunicorn. So now the Gunicorn has been installed. After that we need to create the requirements.txt. So we need to change directory to my app, and in here I can just say pip freeze requirements.txt. So requirements.txt. Okay, so now you can see that we have our requirements.txt. After this we need to create a GitHub project, a GitHub repo, not project, sorry. So let's just click on new, and I'm going to just name it for example if I say Flask VM, okay, that's available. Okay, no, that's not available. I can just say Flask GCE. Okay, so that's available. Let's just make it private. Let's just click on create repository, and that will be created. Okay, so now first let's just init the repo, and after that what I want to do, I want to just say git add all. Okay, so now we need to commit the project. Okay, and after that let's use the git branch main. Now we can do add origin, and at the end we need to just push the project to the GitHub repo. So let's wait for this. Okay, now we are done with that. If I just go here to the code, you will see that now our project is deployed. Okay, so we have our project, and that's deployed to the GitHub repo. In this lesson we want to create our VM instances in Compute Engine. So now I'm inside Compute Engine. We can just click on create instance. And now in here, let me just say Flask instance, and the region, the zone, you can choose it, and we want to just choose E2. Okay, and from the machine type we want to use E2 micro. Okay, and in the advanced configuration we don't want to bring any changes. In the OS and image we want to choose this 12. Okay, the Debian, this is the size. And in the data protection we don't want the backup, and also in the networking we want allow HTTP and also HTTPS. Okay, and we don't need to bring any changes in here, and we can just click on create. Okay, so now we need to just wait for this. The instance will be created. So now you can see that our instance is created. This is our first part in Flask deployment. Okay, and in this part we want to add some setups for the Flask deployment. So now let's do it. Okay, so first of all, what we need to do, we need to SSH to our VM that we have created. Okay, so let me open it. We need to authorize that. So, okay. So now we are inside our Flask instance VM. First, what we need to do, we need to just update. And after updating, we need to just install the pip, the venv, and also nginx and git. After that, we need to just clone our repo. So I can just copy that. Okay, so now we need to clone the repo. Okay, so I need to just say git clone and let's paste that. So now we need to give the username, and also we need to give the our token in here. So how you can create the token? So you can just go to the settings, and after that you need to just go to the developer setting, and from here you can just create your token. Okay, so you can just go there and you can just click on personal access token, and in the token classic you can just create your token, and after that you can just add your token in here. So now let me just give the username and also my token in here. Okay, so now we are done with that, and for right now, if I just say, okay, so you can see that we have our Flask GCE. After that, what we need to do, we need to change directory to that. So cd Flask GCE, okay. And now what we want to do, we need to just create a virtual environment. And after that, we need to activate that. So let's activate that. Now that's activated. We need to just install and upgrade the pip. And after that, what we want to do, we want to just install the requirements.txt. So if I just do it ls, so we have our requirements.txt. So we can just say it like this. Okay, so now that's installed. Now what we need to do, so now when you deploy an application on the cloud server like Google Cloud or AWS, your server may need to be rebooted for different reasons. For example, routine system updates or network reconfiguration, software or hardware upgrades, or like this. And without configuring your Flask app to automatically start, your application won't run after the server restarts. Now, leaving it inaccessible until you manually start it again. Now, systemd ensures that your Flask app starts automatically whenever the server is rebooted. Okay, so first you need to create a Flask app.service. Okay, now in here, what we need to do, we need to add this file. Okay, so I already have described this section in the Django when we have deployed our Django in the compute engine. So we have the description and we have after, and this is the user. Make sure that you need to give your user in here. I already have talked about the user, and this is the group, and this is the working directory. Okay, so this is the home, the user, or you can say username, and this is our Flask project or Flask repo. This is our Flask repo, it's the name. And we have for the path, we have home, the username, and also for this we have home, username, and like this. Okay, so now for the username, if you want to find your username, I will show you, but for right now we need to just copy and paste this. Also you make sure that you change this in here. Okay, so this is the username, and these are the things that you need to change. So this one, this one, and in here you need to change, and also you need to change this one and this one. Okay, so this is our service that we have created. Now I'm going to just copy this. Let's copy and paste it in here. Okay, and Control O, enter, and Control X. Okay, so for example, if you want to find the username, you can just say I think it was who am I. Yeah, so you can say who am I, and this is the my username. Also you can find the Gunicorn path. So this is the Gunicorn path. Okay, also you can find that using which Gunicorn. So which Gunicorn. So this is the path, and you can see we are using the same path. Make sure that's the same path. So we have home, username, then Gunicorn. Okay, so now we are done with this. After that, what we need to do, okay, so we need to reload the systemd to read the new service file, and if you see, we need to just use this. After doing that, we need to enable the service and start that, and let's start. Now we need to check the status, okay, so that it's running or not, and I can just copy this. Okay, so it's failed. If you receive this, it means that we have a problem. Okay, no such file in the directory, so it's telling that we don't have this file. Now let's check it, that where's the problem. Okay, so the problem is in our file. Okay, so right now if you see, now if I say which Gunicorn, so this is the location of our Gunicorn. So we have home, the username, and now after that we have Flask GC, and we have our ben Gunicorn. Okay, so now we have a wrong path in here. We can just copy this path. Let me just copy that and paste it in here. Okay. So now we need to update our service, our Flask app.service file. Okay, so now let's open this file and this Flask app.service. We need to open that. So this is the problem, and let's just come down. We can just, so let me delete all of them and let me just add that again. We can remove them. Okay, let me copy and paste this again. Let's say Control O and Control X. Okay, so now we need to just do it again. We need to reload this, and after that we need to just enable that, start that, and let's check it. Okay, so now if you receive this, it means that it's working. Okay, so that's enabled. So make sure that you have the correct path of your Gunicorn, and now it means that it's working. This is our second part on Flask deployment. Now in this lesson we want to use Nginx as a reverse proxy for the Flask app. Now Nginx acts as a reverse proxy that forwards requests from clients like web browsers to the Gunicorn server. Now Gunicorn only handles HTTP requests from within the server, while Nginx is capable of handling external HTTP requests and directing them to Gunicorn. Now this provides an additional layer of security as Nginx can handle traffic and Gunicorn only serves the application. So now let's create our example. Okay, so now in here what we need to do, first we need to create a new configuration file for the Flask app in here, and we can just use this command. Okay, now what we need to do in here, we need to add this code. Okay, so now first we need to add our port, and after that the server name. Now this is our if you see in here our external IP, you need to just copy that and paste it in here. Okay, so this is the external IP, and this is our proxy path. You need to give home, your username, and also Flask GC. So this is the name of the GitHub repo, and this is our service, and you need to change that. And if you have a static file, you need to also change this. Okay, I'm going to just copy this and let's paste it in here, and I can just say Control O, enter, and Control X. Okay, now after that what we need to do, we need to link our Flask app configuration to this directory, and we can just use it like this. Okay, so the Flask app is the service that we have created, and we can just use it like this. Okay, so now we are done with that. After that, before starting Nginx, let's test that the configuration is valid, and we can just use this. Okay, so all things okay, and there's no problem. Now what we want to do, we want to restart the Nginx to apply new configuration. Okay, and now after doing this, if we check, let's check that we have that or not. So let me copy the external IP and let me paste it in here. Okay, so you can see that this is our Flask crot. Let's just create the title, deployed, for example, author, and you can give a price. So for example, like this, add book. Okay, now that's added, the deploy book. You can update this, so updated, and if I just update, you can see that's updated, and even we can delete it. We can click on delete, and that is deleted. So now all things are working.